Alright, how's it going too? So first off, I want to shout out to RNS. They had a great event. I had a great time. Shout out to everybody that came out there. Definitely was a great event. Definitely had a great time. And looking forward to the next one for sure. So let's get into the nitty gritty. Oh, also want to shout out to Cody for runner up and Fast Eddie for taking home the win that day. Y'all go back and watch the videos. Y'all see that. So let's get started on the car. So you know I always start with this one. It's going to be a recap. So when we got there early that day. It was cold. It was a cold day, especially to start it. It was like in the 20s going there. By the time we got there, it was like 30 something degrees. So if y'all watched the first video, Marco tried prep twice, I believe, and he spun both times. Then we tried dry tire. We noticed he got down. So we let the day go on. You know, I believe Gasser class went, then the 13.5. So by the time it was street eliminator, it looked like prep was holding again. And I believe Marco did a hit and it held. So my first race, I put prep on. Mind you, I'm running air. So I don't use heat or the warmers or anything with air. I don't want to mess with my pressure. So I get up to the line. You know, I'm standing there for a little minute now, so I know my tire is probably going to get glazed. I do my burnout, and I already know the car is not going to hook. I could feel it. Even when I put it down, it wasn't sticking. I could just lift the car right up off the ground. So I already knew I was going to spun. Luckily, it was the first round, and I could have bought back in. So I sent it. It spun right back to the drawing board. So I decided to go back dry tire. So I bought back in. The next person I ran was Joe. Y'all see me in the video looking for Joe. I ran Joe, and I just wanted to see what the car would do on dry tire. And I just threw a normal tune in there, and it ran 238, which I knew wasn't good enough, and I needed to do something better. But it went down A to B. And it was a tough day, and most wasn't getting down. So I figured that A to B would win over anything else. So again, I went into the next round. I had to race Dan, which I went dry tire again. I noticed I turned the car up and it didn't like it. It spun off the line. I let off. Dan had me by a whole shot. If he would have stayed in his lane, he would have had me. He crossed, but I got back into my throttle to catch him. And I stayed in my lane and passed the beam. He crossed and caused him to lose. So that brought me into the next round. So in between those rounds, I'm thinking in my head, should I go back to prep? I stare over at Ed and notice he's using warmers on his prep. So I said, hey, let me take off the air and go with foam and try a hit real quick. So I noticed right away, as soon as I do the hit, the car takes it. So I go back to the table, refresh, do everything again, get ready to do my next hit. But I don't know if it's going to take my tune that I'm used to throwing in with prep. So I turned it down, which was my fault because I turned it down too much. So I think I went a 231, which is about the same thing I was running with dry tire. And I believe I was running Steve, and Steve ran, if it was not a 222 or 220, so he had me by a tenth automatically. So I turned down way too much, cost me the race. So I went back to my table and I said, let me just refresh and just get another quick hit in just to see what the car would have did. And I ended up putting down a 212. And at the same time, me and Steve had a grudge race. I just knew my car wasn't performing how it was when I raced him. So I just wanted to race him again. So we threw up a little grudge race, and I went down again, the same 212, and he ran a 211. I beat him off the light. So the car had it in it if I would have knew that routine. I'm used to running it with air and not running warmers. So I got to know the method for when the day switch or the track switches. So it was a great day because I learned. So you can't beat learning at all. So yeah, the car did great. I didn't even really crash this car. It's just when it spun, I let off because I would know right off the line. If the car's going to spin, I let off. But once it took off from the line, it's gonna take the whole way down, which it did most of the run. So still happy with the car, just had to learn some new things, and that's what it's all about. So let me go ahead and get the stock chassis out with the Castle motor, and then we'll go from there. Also, what I've been noticing with this car, this right tire seems to be wearing faster than this left tire. Not sure what that's from, so I gotta do some tuning. I'm gonna do some shock tuning and see if it helps. I'll probably be getting out real soon to they have a race coming up again in CT. It's a Dirty Den race, their season opener, and it's gonna be a prep race. So I'm gonna be tuning with prep, so y'all stay tuned for those videos. If there's anything I forgot, I'll probably get back to it, but let's get the other car up here. All right, y'all, stock chassis car. I call it the stock chassis car because it has a stock chassis, but has a Castle motor in it and the Mamba Monster 8S. So, also, I didn't mention the other car is running a Phantom 3.0, same setup I've been running with the same Mamba Monster X 8S. But anyway, as y'all remember, if y'all watched the test and tune, I had crashed this car, broke the chassis, also messed up the battery. So that day, I had to switch to this battery in this car, which was probably 3 times less the weight than I really run with the other 6400 pack. So that did not help me. So the first race I raced was David, and I went down dry tire. The car went straight, everything, just it wasn't enough. So, and I noticed I couldn't give it more because it didn't have the weight distribution that I set the car up. I just entered it anyway because I just wanted to test. The same time I'm there, I'll pay the test. I'll pay $20 to enter the class to test my car. I don't care. Whether it's a race or not, it's testing for me. So I'm learning. So that's what I did. I entered the car. I raced Dave. It was revenge from last week. But Dave took the first one. I bought back in with this car. I said, I think I still kept it the same. I just turned it up some more. So I have it designed on my remote where I can hit a button to make the car go to a different ramp. It's called a scramble button or whatever you want to call it. So I had that on the fly. The car was taking a hit, and when I hit the button, it blew the car right off the track, smacked the wall, boom. David took the win again, because when I bought back in, I ended up picking David again. So we had to race again. But it was great racing. We always race each other, and it's always fun. So he got his wins back. So it was really mainly because, not saying that he didn't win, I'm saying my car was off mainly because of that battery. My weight distribution was off with the car. I knew that, but hey, I wanted to test the car anyway to see what it would do out there. But I will be testing now that I have the battery back in there. I did. So at RC Madness, they had that Trinity battery in stock. Tony's a bad influence. I end up grabbing that battery. So I'm going to be, I'm actually cycling it now. Once I'm done, hopefully I can get out and do some test hits. I am going to be testing with this on prep. I will not be using air right now because I want to stay consistent with a method, so I know that works with prep. So that's what I will be doing, is using the warmers with the heat and everything like that. So y'all stay tuned for that. The car did good. It was just my lack of running the car when it wasn't supposed to be run that it messed up. And nothing broke or anything, but it was just off balance, and that messed up the car. So it is what it is. You live and you learn. But that's what it's all about. I had a great time. That's why I really went out there, to just have fun with everybody. And that's exactly what I did, is have a great time. Also, I entered my stock Losi into the bracket class. So the first run was a time trial just to see what you was running. And then you'll come back and give you a time you ran, so, or be close to it. That way, you know, you'll be decent enough to get closer to your number in the bracket class. But anyway, I slept on the light big time. I think I dialed in a 257 or a 256, one of those, and I ran a 261. And the person next to me dialed in a 260 and ran a 268. But because I slept on the light and only ran 3/10 off my dialing, I lost. And he ran 8/10 off his dialing, but won because my me sleeping on the light, it helped him out, so he won. But it was all fun. That's a stock car just for the dialing, and out here we run it in the stock class. But it's definitely a fun car. Shout out to everybody once again. I had a great time, man. I'm just gonna tune the car. Hopefully I don't hit nothing again to mess up that Trinity battery, but we are gonna get this car dialed back in. I will be testing it with prep. So my downfall with this car is this Castle motor, most people that's running it is using prep. I'm trying it with dry tire and prep. So the dry tire part ain't gonna work with a torquey motor like that. It helps because it won last week, but because of the torque in the motor, and I had it dialed in right. So now I'm gonna dial it in with prep. If this car ends up being a more consistent car with prep, which my other car is consistent as well, but it gives better numbers. I've been seeing numbers with this motor, so let's see what happens. Anyway, sorry for the battling, y'all. Y'all stay tuned for more. I want to shout out to all the new subscribers. And if you're still watching, you got to subscribe, because I went to the analytics and it's 68% of people that watch my videos are not subscribed. Only 38 are subscribers. So it don't cost nothing. Just hit the subscribe button, and that's it. So you could just be notified when another video come out. But anyway, guys, that had me puzzled. Like, where's all these non-subscribers coming from? Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and more to come. You know, we're gonna keep y'all updated. So the next race is gonna be at Dirty Den. Then May 1st we have a following race after that. It's gonna be our cash days. So I'll probably put flyers up. Y'all see what's going on. But anyway, y'all stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in.